Hello. Hi. My name is Bash, and yes, this is the only jacket I own. I wore this jacket today because I wanted to wear something that brought me joy, especially if I'm doing something brave like a TEDx talk, even if it looks a little silly. And to be honest, I do feel very silly. I feel silly all the time. I feel like a child wearing her mother's red lipstick and heels. I'm worried that with these heels, I'm gonna trip and fall and rip my pants, or I'm gonna mess up and I'm gonna do a terrible job and I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. It's kind of like being a teenager all over again. Being nervous and anxious and scared, not knowing if you're going to succeed or fail, always trying to look cooler than I actually am and failing. I'm in my 20s now, and I'm happy to report that life does not get any easier. But you do get stronger. You get stronger by choosing yourself, by choosing joy and misadventures. Choosing joy is a phrase that I feel like is my equivalent to a millennial's live, laugh, love. You know? If you stick it on a wallpaper, hashtag, and cursive fonts, it could become your mom's wallpaper. People might think it's a little cringe, yes, but to be honest, it has gotten through one of the worst parts of my youth. When you are young, especially now in this digital age, the whole world is in the palm of your hands. Quite literally, you have your phone, and everyone is connected, billions of people. A photo that you post on Instagram can be seen by someone in Norway. You can go online and talk about your favorite movies and TV shows with strangers you've never met. Side note, I was really into Tumblr as a teenager, and I got really into Super Wholock. If anyone knows that, I had a really big obsession with Doctor Who and Sherlock, and I was really into Harry Potter RPGs. That was where I felt connected online, because connection is our most powerful tool. And as I got older, one way that I wanted to do those connections was to start a blog. To the Gen Zs here, a blog is like a video, but with pictures and words not written by AI. It is a website where you can share all the things that you love. For me, my blog was called Hey Bash. I did photos of my outfits, my makeup, and even the weird stuff that I think no one wanted to see. But at the same time, I didn't think it was going to be very big. I mean, I was 16, I was focusing on my A-levels, I really wanted to do good in my studies. But at the same time, I was also dealing with my very first teen breakup. Has anyone ever remembered their first ever breakup? You don't have to answer, you can. All you need to know is that it sucks, right? That heartache when you first broken up with someone that you thought you would be with for a long time, that heartache in your gut. To avoid that heartache, I decided to choose blogging. So 3 times a week, I would post consistently about anything and everything that interested me. Fashion, books, movies, anything I could talk about, I will talk about it. I would stay up past my bedtime just to write articles upon articles, and eventually writing that blog got me on this stage today. It is incredible what small acts of joy and adventure can lead you to. At 19, I started saying yes to more things. At 19, I went off to uni and started misadventures of my own there. When I say misadventures, they don't have to be big and grand and exciting. They can be small. They can be just interesting to you. A typical misadventure for me at uni was going on that bus at 7 a.m., going on a 4-hour bus trip to London, doing my homework and my makeup at the same time on a bumpy road, and then going to an event for 2 hours, meeting with my other fashion friends, taking photographs with other designers, going to all these special events, and then heading back to my university at midnight just so I could actually meet my torts law seminar at 8 a.m. that morning. Another misadventure would also be accidentally becoming president of the Fashion Society and working as an assistant stylist to the slow fashion show. I would be working with models, talking to them, building the portfolios so they can be featured on websites like ASOS. These were really big misadventures to me, but the small ones, the smaller misadventures were also just as important. It was being alone in Waterloo at 5 a.m. after a long, long night, sitting down after a fashion show and waiting for the next tube, sitting at the station, looking at the tiles, and thinking to myself, I am alone in the most populated city in the world. How cool is that? To be somewhere so quiet and no one else can see you. It was an incredible feeling. But sometimes I feel like the point of misadventures can be forgotten. At least that's what happened with me. If you forget about the misadventures, you slowly keep doing them more and more and more because you can't do anything else. At uni, it eventually became a burden, what was supposed to be something that brought me joy. Every single time I said yes to something, it was to feel something, anything, because if I wasn't doing anything, who am I? What was I? And what was my point? What was my point being here on this earth? Would I go online and see my friends who are back in Brunei having fun with their own new friends that they built 7,000 miles away while I am in bed alone just staring at a screen? That isolation, that loneliness, eating away, the ache that you feel from your first heartbreak started opening up again, but I couldn't blame a breakup anymore. This was deeper, this was real, and this hurt. So I kept burying it in, choosing more misadventures, going in and in and in again until I finally couldn't stop. I looked at myself in the mirror once, and I couldn't recognize who that person was. She was tired, she was sick, she was wasting away like her body concaving into herself. I didn't feel like me, I didn't look like me. What I realized now was that thing was called depression. I found that out when I met with my third counselor at 21. I remember sitting with her in her office, this padded room in the counselor's place. I was sitting there, just talking to her, telling her what I've been doing, how much I've been doing, how tired I was before she stopped me and asked, Bash, who are you doing this for? And then it hit me. That ache in my gut punctured, a stab in my stomach, and then I cried. I cried so hard. I realized that what I was chasing was not misadventures or joy. That was all an illusion. What I was really chasing was success. To be the best daughter, the best student, the best Bruneian, the best person I could be. But what is joy? What is success without joy? What is success without the journey? And what is the journey if you lose yourself in the process? I don't see a counselor anymore. I move, I manage, life goes on. But sometimes it is hard to rewire your brain, especially when you want to break old habits and thoughts and bring in new ideas. But one thing that really does help me is to ask a very simple question. Will this bring me joy? You can ask yourself now, will this bring me joy? Will this event, this experience, this misadventure bring me joy? If yes, go for it. If not, say thank you, maybe next time. We worry so much about success and what our work now does for us in the future, but why not focus on the present and how it makes us feel now? You are not a number. You are not a metric. You are a person, flaws and all, and that is beautiful. It makes you human. So ask yourself, what brings you joy in the present, in the moment, even if you don't know how to start, even if it feels difficult? Joy looks different as you get older. What was joy then is different now. It can be very, very simple things. Joy now is making silly little knitting videos, yapping about my new sweaters. It is creating markets for other people and meeting new friends online in real life. It is teaching people how to write, tell stories, yap about poetry, and hopefully make some people cry. It's my favorite part. And then another simple joy, obviously, is my cats. So this one is Champ. That one's Tabby. I just want an excuse to show their faces because their faces just bring me so much joy. So if you take anything from this talk, ask yourself, will this bring me joy? And that's it. So if you're going to do anything today, you can do something as simple as doing something that brings you joy, like wearing a jacket that might be a little bit silly in the moment. Find beauty in your mess, your chaos, your misadventures, because that is what makes all of us, especially you, human. My name is Bash Harry. Thank you for being present.